interesting episode of NXT we had tonight. We're going to be talking about that as well as a little bit of 205 Live. We're going to see how it works. But for right now, it's the NXT After Show on AfterBuzz TV, and it starts right now.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Listen to the sultry sounds of El Idolo, your NXT champion. Or is he by the end of the night? No, we know. If you're watching this before you watch NXT, that's a little silly. Welcome to the NXT After Show right here on AfterBuzz TV. I'm one of your hosts, the internet's Mark B. Donica. You can find me on Twitter at that very same place, Mark B. Donica. Joined by the one, the only, the Hobo.
Yes, I cloned myself and I'm taking over Europe. Yes.
You don't look like a crawfish to me. But what else is going on aside from the taking over the world?
Well, I mean, we're going to be talking about 205 because actually we know a bunch of people on the last night's 205 that we actually know very well, myself included. So
well as some people that are transfers from NXT, people that have appeared on NXT. Yeah. Former NXT title holders, though he wasn't active. Or actually, one was active, one was not. And we're trying this out. There's been a little bit of a demand to talk about 205 Live, with NXT being only an hour compared to some of the other shows.
If Raw is an hour, and we can fit 3 hours worth of content into that single hour, we should be able to fit both NXT and 205 into an hour time slot,
but
arguably.
Can you fit 3 hours into an hour?
I'd love to try.
Until the patent is approved, this is a test run of the 205 Live NXT After Show Power Hour.
Power Hour, the hour of power.
Your hour of power.
Too sweet to be sour.
That's right. Also, Bill Hanstock isn't joining us tonight. He is currently on assignment at the Overwatch League watching Xavier Woods play for the London Spitfire.
Yeah, he's watching him watch them play with them.
He's playing with them.
Yeah. Only in the Valley can you film somebody playing with other people in a large group setting and...
Burbank actually. So really, we're gonna speed through 205 real quick because this is still technically the NXT After Show. But Buddy Murphy making his debut at a svelte 202 pounds was what he was billed at on the way out.
Yeah, they weighed him in. They had the weigh in. He actually weighed in at 200,
which is
and change.
Wild.
I mean, you look at
Buddy's
him,
a big dude,
okay.
but he slimmed the hell.
He's slim.
He is stacked.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous how good he looks. It's wild.
And he wrestles like a guy who's, half that size. And truly, in my opinion, you don't need it. When you're as big as he is, just start slugging. Just be big.
Really? Especially versus a guy like Ari Daivari, who is real... He's speedy, but he can still hit you pretty hard. If you have that size, I agree. You need to use it. Buddy ended up eking out the victory, despite Arya looking like he threw everything that he had at him.
And that, I think, really speaks to who Buddy Murphy is as a competitor. He's a guy who can take a lot and dish out a lot. And he busted, for the end of the match, he busted out something I hadn't seen. Pump handle overhead... spinning slam.
Yeah.
I'm sure it has a name. I don't know what the hell the name is.
Pump handle, catch,
something,
slam, drop,
something.
bomb.
I mean, he spun with it.
Yeah.
So it's.
That's a slam.
Yeah, something like that.
Characterized as a slam.
But I mean, he's really a guy who's capable of doing a lot. He's able to fight on the ground, use his power to pick guys up, and then put them down, as well as being able to fly. He's actually really gifted as a flyer.
Yeah, so and we saw that in his time in NXT as one half of the NXT Tag Team Champions.
Yeah.
So I'm really happy that he's advancing. He gets a chance to really make this his own. He has a little bit of a bad attitude, though. He's kind of always been known for that.
Right. And his gear coming in was a little weird.
I'm not a fan of the tattered, especially because it's clean tattered. It's not like Jamie Noble where it's like frayed jeans.
Right.
They designed it to be frayed.
It looked like it was cut up, and I don't know.
It's like just have shorts if you want shorts, bro. It's not that big of a deal.
And I mean, he's calling himself the best kept secret.
Well, he's been the best kept secret for a while. He was the best kept secret of NXT until he got moved up. and now he's just the best kept secret. But he's out front and center now, so how can
I
you
mean,
be
how
a
secret can it be?
Yeah.
It's a weird thing to say. That it's like saying you're the next big thing. It means that you're not that big. Saying you're the best kept secret means you're not good enough to be well known, or you can't get along with everybody to get yourself out in the spotlight. It means something's wrong with you.
I think also similarly to being known as an underdog,
Right.
sometimes can be a bit of a detriment.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I know something about that.
moving on, the Lucha House Party versus a couple of local competitors,
Yeah.
of whom you're a little familiar with.
Yeah, we worked with them on Saturday at Championship Wrestling from Arizona. Delgado, the name they gave him for the show, is actually Gino Rivera, who is the Arizona State champion of the United Wrestling Network. And I was in a tag team match with him on Saturday.
Yes, you were. Oh boy, did he have a different performance on 205 than he did at Arizona.
Hey, to be fair, he barely did any wrestling when we were tag teaming together, and as soon as he had to do some heavy lifting, he got schooled by those luchadors, which I was very impressed with Lincei Dorado. I hadn't seen him in a little while. He looks like he's gotten in great shape.
Lincei over the past couple of months that was on the air, by the way.
Sorry,
has
that
really
was my shoulder.
has really tightened up, and not to say that he was bad in the first place, but he's hitting all cylinders.
Yeah.
And especially since the establishment of the Lucha House Party, which is still just
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
Like, how do you make luchadors valid? Because everybody wants to see luchadors. Everyone wants to see lucha-style wrestling. But you aren't able to fit it in with a card like you have on 205. So what do? You put them all together. Say, here's just lucha wrestling. And you have them wrestle guys like Gino Rivera, and Evan Daniels was the other one. He's part of a faction in Championship Wrestling from Arizona.
Yeah.
The Brothers of Wrestling, as they're known in Arizona, him and R3. He's the more slender of the two, though he is quite large. I think he himself barely made that. Evan Daniels is a little bit taller than you'd think, and he's filled out a little bit in his time that I've known him. He's actually helped himself to put on size. But still, the Lucha House Party had them dead to rights, lucky enough to get a little bit of offense.
a little bit,
Very little.
But yeah, it was a great showing from the Lucha House Party, and Kalisto's got a round one match of the Cruiserweight tournament against Roderick Strong.
Yes.
Which I think is, I mean, all of the matches in the tournament so far have been pretty great. I'm pretty excited for that match. I think that's going to be wild.
Kalisto is very gifted in his speed and movement and agility. Roderick Strong is a powerhouse. And I only hope that Kalisto's able to use his weight to his advantage to take Roderick Strong off of his feet.
I agree.
Because if he doesn't, Roderick Strong is going to snatch him up and just backbreaker.
Because we haven't seen him Roderick Strong. We haven't seen him against a lot of luchador types in the WWE.
Yeah.
So getting a chance to have a former United States champion, a former Cruiserweight champion in his own right, between these two, and it's just going to be on WWE TV instead of a pay-per-view or a takeover, is nuts.
It's a pretty high-level match, especially for a first-round matchup.
Second round now.
Is it second?
Second now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Look at him then.
Now we are getting into the
right.
second
The
round
last
matches.
was Buddy Murphy and Navarre was the
No,
last first
the last
round.
first round was Jack Gallagher and Mustafa Ali.
Which was the main event.
Which is the main event.
Right.
Which Gallagher, I like Gallagher's new bare knuckle brawler gear, which was
very
forced on
classic.
him by Drake Maverick.
Yeah. It
But-
helps accentuate his package with it's the velour
cut.
kind of
Yeah.
color. It's not the cut, it's how the light kind of you get a lot of shadow in that region. He'll be able to get a lot of trim with those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that being the main event, I think Mustafa Ali always has an amazing showing, but Gallagher really showed that he is dedicated to being this bad seed brawler type where I almost didn't recognize his fighting style, and the fact that he's been undergoing this change since being under the tutelage of Brian Kendrick, and that was this is the new Jack Gallagher, and it's here to stay. Even though it didn't work out for him in that match, if we see more of that,
I would dare say that was almost a fluke.
I'd say it was a fluke.
Even Nigel on commentary was like, I've never seen a match turn around that fast.
If it was a roll-up instead of the 054 for the win, that I would say that it was a fluke victory. But the fact that Mustafa pulled it together and got the finish, got the dive, and got the win, that just shows the amazing heart. And he was bleeding by the end of it.
He was bleeding by the mouth. I mean, Gallagher was doing everything he could to just tear that arm off, which, in my opinion, it would have been smarter to go after the leg. Mustafa Ali, he's a great flyer. He's got incredible balance and speed. So I would personally have targeted the leg instead of the arm. But that was a choice on Gallagher's part. And honestly, it worked out really well for him. He was able to do a lot to target that arm and just put in Fujiwara armbar after Fujiwara armbar, which is a very, very tight hold, and it hyperextends the rotator cuff in a very bad way.
And we saw that again. We saw it again in tonight's NXT. Let us know if you liked the quick 205 live recaps. We may make that a little bit more of a permanent of a thing based on who 205's new daddy is. But and also seemingly the cross pollination of NXT talent to 205 live, and 205 live kind of being more of a show now. No offense to the guys, they've been putting in great work over this past year, and it doesn't go unnoticed.
It does seem like the company has begun to invest more in 205. It's not just that the guys on 205 weren't doing a good job. They were doing a great job, but the company itself wasn't putting enough into 205 to make it a standout show. And it seems like now they really are, with the injection of a lot more NXT talent, because a lot of the talent in NXT is, I'd say, of a 205 size and stature. And that is probably the best place for a lot of them to go, is 205, and help flesh out that as as its own brand.
Yeah.
And I feel that it's really getting put in its own space now. It doesn't have to compete with the main roster. I feel like they're starting to take things from main roster wrestlers, the heavyweights, that the 205 actually does.
Yeah.
Because I've seen dives on, let's say, Raw that are really average, and then 205 you're seeing a lot more of the high-flying stuff and a lot more of that to separate them from the main roster, which is what you have to do. That's why everybody is so fond of the cruiserweights of yesteryear. It's because when on WCW you had the heavyweights who didn't do that, and the cruiserweights who did everything else, and that's why they liked the cruiserweights. So you have to take that away from the heavyweight wrestlers in order to make the cruiserweights stand out, and I think they're doing that more.
Yeah. Let us know what you think about the current state of 205 Live, if you've been a fan this entire time, or if you're just now starting to get into it. If you've been watching it for this entire past year, man, has there been a change. But speaking of some changes, let's talk about WWE's NXT for tonight. It started off with a little bit of a recap as to why Johnny Gargano was putting his whole Fakakta career on the line. Against
why he would do that is beyond anybody.
Yeah, well, his wife's the breadwinner now. Now that Candace is in it, there's a little bit of job security where he could put it on the line. Even though Candace had no say in the decision making, but
hey, this was a bad idea.
Hey, but you know what was a good idea? Velveteen Dream versus No Way Jose.
Yeah, good idea.
Dear God, this match was wild. Like we had a couple of slugfests last week.
Yeah.
But these two behemoths, I would say it was almost to the point of like when Big Show and Braun Strowman had a normal match for standard heavyweights instead of super heavyweights.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But then taking that and putting it onto these guys.
Yeah.
Where, oh my God. Well, Dream, first of all, like dancing along with No Way Jose just to get a cheap shot in, perfect, because everybody was already chanting for him and he needed a reason for them to boo him. But my favorite thing about Dream is that instead of getting people to shut up, it's about his name proliferating the NXT universe. That's what it's always been about, and it's continuing in this during the match, after the match. But something I wanted to ask you is with Dream was doing a lot of high impact diving, and he wasn't he wasn't successful at all. So he's a fast-paced dude. He didn't necessarily have the power or the size advantage over Noe Jose.
Yeah.
So he did go for more of those dives, despite not getting the success on the first go. Why? What makes you want to keep going for dives like that? Because the first one, no success. The second one, also no success. But he still, with full confidence, got up and hit the elbow drop at the end. What would be the reasoning for that, do you think?
Like you said, it's a size and weight disadvantage. So you've got to think of what is the best way to take a guy off of his feet who has a size advantage, and that's using your entire body weight against your opponent. And from the highest place is going to equal the greatest reward and payoff for that. Dives are not something that I'm especially good at, but I can see why one would do that. It has to do with the opponent more than anything. And it's you don't usually see, as Dream has wrestled in his NXT career, you don't see him going up against guys who stand at an advantage across the ring from him. So he's had to figure it out, especially Jose, who is pretty grounded, loves to throw hands, and does so very, very well. And he himself hit a dive tonight.
Yeah.
And it was very impactful because, of course, he's got the weight advantage. But Dream has got to figure out other ways to fight opponents. And you saw that in his last takeover match against, help me out here.
Noe Jose's last match?
No. Dream's match.
Oh, no,
it was Cassius
Ono, yeah.
And again, there's a guy with a size and weight advantage, and he had difficulty maneuvering him as he wanted to, because he's not had to deal with that. So he's having to find other ways, other than power, to take his opponents off of their feet. And sometimes, a lot of times, the best way to do that is with a dive and throwing your entire body weight against somebody.
And boy, does he have a lot of body weight. Good. I'm that's one of the reasons, along with us just being friends, but it's one of the reasons why I like having a candor on this panel as a professional wrestler and as a trainer. I could have watched about 5 to 10 more minutes of these two fighting, just because Jose's always been one of those performers that you're attached to, whether he has a 2-minute match, whether he has a 10-minute match, whatever, because he just has the electricity, he just has the fire, he has the charisma. And that matching up with Velveteen Dream, these two next to each other, while I don't think it will, because we already know the Velveteen Dream was looking past Noe Jose before they even fought because of his promo last week. These two could have a huge 15-minute takeover match, and it could steal the show. And first of all, I think Jose deserves it because he's been around for a minute and he's a great performer. And some of the other people that he's been performing with as just fellows, as tag team members, as whatever, have passed him by. And he hasn't really had the chance to really show. His last takeover match was against Lars Sullivan, and we all know how that turned out.
Right.
But despite Dream winning pretty decisively, I still would love to see more of these two.
Yeah, no, I think Jose's got a lot going for him. He's very charismatic, especially for a big guy. It's hard to find a guy his size who's got just charisma like that, and he does own the space. It just feels like recently he's taken a bit of a hit. His star is not as high as it once was, and
because after his match with Lars, he was off TV for a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
And time away is never time that is well spent. Let's say it that way, because if you're not in the public eye, the public tends to forget.
Yeah.
And for Jose, you can say that we've seen all that he can do. I think he needs to do some more inventing, something a little bit different. I'm not saying to take the party out of it, but expand the party. You know, it's tough to say. It's hard to say what you're not seeing.
Yeah,
but there is something is missing from Jose that is not allowing him to get these victories when he needs them.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. Sharkosaur in chat is saying that Jose seems like main roster no-brainer like Elias. I would have said the same thing about Adam Rose.
Yes.
And look at what they did to Adam Rose.
Right. And Bailey arguably is not doing what Bailey was expected to do.
Yeah. And to be honest, Elias isn't on the opposite thing.
Yeah.
He's doing better than I expected him to do, because we had a problem connecting with it in NXT, but for some reason it seems to be clicking on the main roster.
I think there's a wider variety of wrestlers on the main roster than there is in NXT, especially when he was there.
Yeah, it may have just been bad timing, but at the same time, looking at him across the ring from Seth Rollins and going like, oh, is this the Marx Brothers mirror gag? But like,
yeah, right.
But yeah. And then Joe Loco 386 says, I could sit under the Hobo's learning tree all day long.
Thank you. I've been doing this for a little while, and I'm a great listener, so I'm able to.
He likes long walks on the beach.
Yes, I do. I like to take the wisdom that I myself,
myself and I, am
able to really understand and impart it on others as I see it.
You're a very, very welcome addition to the NXT team, founding member.
No, I wasn't. Wasn't a founding member.
You wouldn't consider yourself a founding member?
No. Technically, second generation.
Yes, second gen. I'm third gen.
Yeah.
So founding members would be Kathy, Klum, Katz.
Katz? No, not Katz.
But
Kozlov.
You would say Kozlov instead of Katz?
Yeah, because he was never on it.
Wasn't he?
No, he's only on Raw.
I thought he was on NXT.
No.
Okay, so Kozlov, Kathy, and Klum.
Yeah.
And Ryan Klum, former host of NXT, got the
Appearing on
absolute
SmackDown
the
last
absolute
night.
crap beat out of him by the Bludgeon Brothers last night.
He's vying with Peter Avalon, who also was murdered by the Bludgeon Brothers, for control of Championship Wrestling from Arizona. So if things go well for him, he may be the owner of Championship Wrestling
so it's
from
him and
Arizona.
Peter? Him and Peter right now?
Yes. I mean, sort of in a legal battle.
Is Arizona on Fight TV?
It is not.
Okay.
It's local
hopefully
only,
soon.
but if you search for Championship Wrestling from Arizona or any of the characters they're on, you may be able to find something on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Wink, wink.
Sharksaur. Man, remember Adam Rose? Man, I do. That was so much fun. Speaking of fun, Velveteen Dream got on the mic after the match. The NXT Male Competitor of the Year, Superstar of the Year, Match of the Year, Aleister Black, Asuka, Tyler Bate. No one cares. The Dream's name is clearly on the tip of everyone's tongue.
The tip.
Yeah, but
Tongue.
you were saying it. He was probably asked to add name to that promo.
You can't just say you're on the tip of everyone's tongue. You have to say something else.
Can't I?
This is a family show, Adam.
Is it? Adam?
Yeah.
All right.
Adam.
It's
the name of the first man. He looks like
the first.
He looks like what the first man would look like.
He is the proto man.
Oh, look at that. He looks like a damn statue.
Yep. If you can't see it, I just don't have time for you. Throws the mic. I mean, he was calling out Tyler Bate last week. We didn't entirely know what that was about.
I know.
Other than just because why not? And now he widened it out to just being the NXT awards.
Yeah.
And the award winners. Didn't call out Pete Dunne, mind you.
No, just
Tyler Bate.
Just Tyler Bate.
But I'm still super excited to see him and Tyler Bate.
I have my own theory on that I can't share right now.
It's like a headcanon. Slash fiction. Then we get a wonderful announcement that the Dusty Classic is going to be starting in 2 weeks, presumably when we're back at Full Sail.
Yep.
And the winners are not only going to win the cup, but they're going to be getting a tag team title shot at TakeOver New Orleans. So this is going to be a fast tournament. Because we are 46 days away.
I don't know how many teams are going to be in this.
I think it's only going to be half of the bracket as last year. Like it can't be as big as last year.
How many would they have last year?
16? Either way.
8? I don't know.
Authors of Pain won last year.
Yeah.
Balor and Samoa Joe won the year before,
Yes.
or the tournament before, because it's not one calendar year. It's whenever they decide. Sorry for boring you. But I do that anytime somebody yawns, even my wife. Say, how's your day at work? Well, I'm sorry, I haven't even started and you're already bored. But yeah, they named off a whole bunch of the current tag teams that are in NXT. I wonder if we're going to get any mushed together teams.
Probably, I would have to imagine.
Because we have a lot of tag teams. Even not counting the ones that are on TV every week, like the Ely brothers are, I would consider an NXT tag team. Street Profits, Sanity, Heavy Machinery, Authors of Pain were named. Undisputed Era. Oh, well, they're the tag champs, but I wonder if they would choose to enter. And if they win, they don't have to defend their titles.
Honestly, I would if I were them.
Yeah.
It doesn't cost anything for them to enter, and if they win, they don't have to defend the belts.
Then you can then, if they make it to the finals, you can make the finals for the tag team championships instead of having it be a separate match.
Yeah.
Because then it's all the same thing. It's two titles in one.
Yeah.
But yeah, in chat, who do you want to see in the War Machine? That's a good point. War Machine could make their debut in the NXT tag team division. But yeah.
So that's 7 teams we've counted off the top of our head.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure I miss TM61.
6-1.
So that's 8.
That's 8.
That's 8 titles.
That's an 8-man tournament right there.
Yeah, that's
7 matches. Yeah, 7 individual matches
in 46 days.
Yeah.
Which is 4, 5, 6 weeks.
Yeah.
5 weeks. 6 weeks.
Then you'd have to double.
No, because it's in 2 weeks, so 5 weeks.
Still a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot of tag team matches.
At least you know. So you at least have to get.
No.
You have to get through 6 matches on TV and then 1 at the takeover.
I got a tag team, Mark Donica and the Hobo. No.
He looks big, but he can't do a lot.
I mean, I could try, but I'll get killed. I will get murdered. It's like you turned it off. It's like it was a dramatic fly and you killed it. Actually, to be honest, I haven't taken a bump yet.
That's true.
Yeah, I've run the ropes. I've done a couple of things, but I haven't taken a bump in a ring yet.
That's true.
I've taken it elsewhere.
What?
High school.
Oh, well.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't count.
That doesn't count.
Yeah, that I'm still looking for a VHS transfer just to. No, I'm not going to do it. That's bad. It's like with the sheer gust of air with his feet, he knocks him down, and he knows the exact spot I'm talking about.
Whiff.
So bad. Anyway, let's talk about the next match. Vanessa Borge versus Nikki Cross. To be perfectly honest, I don't think Vanessa Borge, I don't think she fully thought about getting into the ring with Nikki Cross and what that would mean.
Immediately, when you get in the ring with Nikki Cross, you need to be on the offensive. Mm-hmm. You cannot wait for her to come at you, because when she does, it's already too late. She is 110% offense. She doesn't have any defense. It's all offense.
Yeah.
So when you
it's one of those things where it's like, Vanessa, we want to put you on the show. He's like, yeah, I'll fight anybody. And they went, anybody?
Okay. All right. Yeah, but Nikki Cross is a maniac. And you get it. And there was a point at which she climbed onto Vanessa Borge's back for what looked like a sleeper hold, and it wasn't. It was just a cross face. Just like a standing. Like she wasn't even trying to choke her.
It was a standing
She was just
cross
trying to arrange her face differently. Like she's a maniac. She doesn't necessarily want to win as much as she just wants to mess people up.
So here's the thing about Vanessa Borge is she's not necessarily like one of the tallest female competitors that are in the ring.
You can see when she's next to the ropes.
Yeah, but also Nikki is a little bit shorter than your average women's competitor.
Yep.
But despite that height, I say advantage, quote advantage. Nikki essentially cut off her legs.
Yeah.
And only did Vanessa have a little bit of advantage during this match, but Nikki had her number the entire time, was just frantic in her attacking. There was something that you openly winced at. What was that? Was that the back body drop? Or what was it?
Something I can't remember off the top of my head, but I mean that's Nikki Cross for you. Mm. She's vicious in there, and when she does anything, it's to draw blood and to cause pain. She's really vicious. She's a lot of fun to watch for that reason. If it wasn't for the fact that she is absolutely ballistic, crazy. She wouldn't belong in Sanity. She's the only female member in Sanity, and as a result, she is forced to be far wilder than her male compatriots. She has to be crazy because she's a quarter of the size.
Slanderous Mambo in chat says Vanessa is no Evan.
No. And no.
Just no. But do you remember what they called her, Swinging Fisherman? Because it hit pretty flat.
Yeah, she really
It was whomped.
buried her. So like, if it was dirt, she'd be under. But it just
Something with an A, if I remember it. It wasn't Anarchy. It was something. It was something.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this main event. Almas versus Gargano. Now, something that I want to point out, that I like the evolution of this match. We had the benefit of seeing it live when they taped it in LA before they had their first takeover match. So they've been running this match for a while.
Yeah.
And the story that they had of Almas being on top no matter what, and staying on top and having the advantage, whether it be mentally or physically, evolved pretty naturally. And I say even like this is the final story of this feud for now. I mean, not only because of the outcome of the match, but just because Almas, before there was a little bit of a concern whether we knew that Almas had Johnny Gargano's number or not, because it was Zelina with the DIY shirt, with the this, with the that you're like, oh, well, then he's over the mind game. Now it's just the physical game. But little did we know that Almas had his number for that too. And this match, more so than their takeover match, I think the takeover match was the definitive match in this feud. But in this one, I say more so than the takeover match, Almas was in control.
Oh yeah. The
majority of the time.
He out-wrestled Johnny Wrestling from the outset of this match.
The Purge, that's what it was called.
The Purge.
That's what the move was called. Thank you, Sharkasaur.
But it was a weird thing to see Johnny Gargano get completely out-wrestled by Almas and then have to leave the ring in order to regather himself and get back in. That was it. That essentially you've already lost.
That was it.
If your name is Johnny Wrestling and you just get out-wrestled to the point where you have to leave, you lose. You lost your name. You lost your namesake. Granted, he was able to come back, and he was able to put up a heck of a fight, but Almas was in control of this match at least 80% of the time. And Johnny Gargano could not put up enough of a fight to get as close to a win in this match as he did in their takeover match. He just couldn't do it. And
Sharkasaur saying, I liked when Almas got Johnny in the Gargano escape, but he got out real quick. Then Johnny got Almas ready for the Hammerlock DDT, but he got out fast too. But yeah, that agreed. That they knew each other so much more, whereas they left everything out at TakeOver, whereas here they knew what to expect. Like, this was how many matches that they've had, not including television, but they've had so many matches together that, as Sharkasaur says, Almas didn't fall for the slingshot spear twice.
Yeah. Exactly.
The first time was one of the quickest reactions of the spear that we had seen from Johnny Gargano, where other times he's like, oh, I'm going to get you. I'm going to get you. Do it. Yeah. And the other guy's doing the big, like, really, really hurt and reacting, but you have enough time to
right. Sidestep, kick. Yeah.
Either way, this match, I'd say from a performance standpoint, both of them knew what to expect a lot more, so that's why the pace was a lot faster.
Yeah, well, and you also have to take into account the stakes of the match. Almas wanted to pin Gargano and get this thing over with and get Gargano gone from the very start of this match.
Get Gargano!
Get Gargano! No! But that was really the story. He's trying to just get rid of him. So with the stakes being so high, it becomes what I'd call a gunslinger's duel. Because whoever gets the first shot is gonna win this. So it's a matter of who gets what, where, and when. It wasn't so much in Gargano's favor. because you have to have a move that can be delivered quickly and decisively, and a submission is not that. In a gunslinger's duel, you cannot win as effectively with a submission. You have to have something that you can hit almost out of nowhere. And the Hammerlock DDT works for Almas in that way. There's a bit of setup for it, but if he's able to get it, that's it.
The thing that I like about the Hammerlock DDT is like you say, it should be instant, but it's two things. It's the hooking of it's three things. It's hooking of the head, hooking of the arm, hooking of the leg. Yeah. So the person taking that has to go, oh, my head, oh my leg, and by the time they're like trying to really wriggle out of it, that's it.
Yeah.
So I think it adds even more time by taking that bit of setup instead of it all being one fluid motion.
Yeah.
But I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
Any big... Oh, God. So Candace hits the dive on Zelina. And then Johnny goes to the outside and goes for a dive on Almas and hits it. But he dives in the direction of the stairs.
Almost on the stairs.
He could have. I mean, this is wrestling. They could always be almost killing themselves, but he could have killed himself. Yeah. He could have at least paralyzed himself by hitting the point of the stairs on his spine
and not.
And not being able to walk again.
Almost. It was pretty. I don't know. That was not a very intelligent call. But if you're trying to deliver a whole lot of damage with a dive, it's a great thing to pin your opponent who you're diving on between something incredibly hard. So if you're diving onto somebody and they fall into a set of stairs, that works great for you. But at the same time, if they drop you or if they just sidestep you, you're in the stairs.
You're dead.
Yeah.
Thank you, Steve. It was sort of like, I can imagine somebody going for a cannonball and missing, but from the apron to the stairs is just awful.
Yeah, it's
just
not great.
Like we were watching, just like I was screaming, but you went stairs.
my ring IQ is high enough to go, hey, don't do that. Not there. Or at least back up so you're able to have him run into you so you're able to take him out and not almost take yourself out. Just back up.
Just a little bit.
You've got 10 feet in front of you from half of the ring. You've got 15 if you're 75% back, and then 20 if you're in the other post. So just go to the other friggin' post.
Hit your back on the padded floor. At least is a little bit better than hitting, or is a little bit worse than hitting the body with full contact, but is a lot better than hitting the stairs with full contact.
Yeah, and guess what? Your opponent's going to find you because they're pissed. He's almost is on the outside of the ring. He's pissed.
He's gonna come after you.
He's gonna come right at you. So just back up. Just take advantage. Just back up. Back pedal.
So yeah, this was a good match. I mean, nothing can really outdo their takeover match. It wasn't
their previous match because
it couldn't have been.
I don't think it made Gargano look like he really wanted it. It looked like he set himself up for failure.
Yeah.
And I think that's detrimental when you're looking at a guy who tries to connect with the crowd as much as he does. Yeah. When you set yourself up for failure and then you're not able to execute on your own words, that's death.
He started in the wrong mindset. Or he got started off on the mind. He was shaken immediately, as we talked about, because he was out wrestled, and was just never able to get back on the right footing. Especially when Almas accidentally knocks out the ref.
Well, that's incredible back elbow.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad it was Drake.
Yeah.
If anybody's going to take that thing and live, it's going to be Ref Drake.
Quote: "I don't crash. I have very exciting landings." What was that? Is that from something? That sounds like it's from something.
No, it's not Toy Story.
It's definitely not Toy Story, but that was also in the chat following the style.
Very exciting landings.
But Ciampa comes through the crowd with a spotlight. Somebody messed up.
I don't know.
No. Because of how it ended, I know they messed up.
Oh.
They were told someone's gonna come through. Someone's gonna be in the crowd. Hit them with the spotlight.
No, not now, you dummy.
Exactly. Yeah. So when they cut to the wide of the surprise of Tommaso coming out, there was a spotlight from where he came out. And you're like, oh, well, that's not right. Crutch Johnny Gargano out of the Gargano escape. We got to the huge hammerlock DDT that bounced Gargano's head off the floor. Excuse me. And almost gets the win. Gargano doesn't have a job in NXT.
And Candace
but he leaves.
Sad.
And Candace is the breadwinner now.
No, he's going to become a homemaker.
That's what it's going to be.
Johnny Homemaker.
Johnny Homemaker. But Johnny leaves as Ciampa with a spotlight on him, stares at him. But the fact that the spotlight was on him was that it's a tech miscommunication. It happens all the time. So that's why I don't think they went to the single of Ciampa coming out. But then we saw that, yeah, anyway. So he's gone from NXT. He's not gone from WWE because we've seen plenty of people lose loser leaves town matches in NXT, so they're off to something else. Now, what I think some people are saying in our chat is, oh, it was from Star Wars Rebels last night? Oh, goodness. I need to watch that because I heard it was bad. Or heard it was sad. Johnny Jobless. Thank you, slanderous Mambo. But
slanderous indeed.
So a lot of people think that, oh, well, Gargano's going to 205 Live. If you would have gone to 205 Live, I think it would have been in time for the tournament, the Cruiserweight Championship tournament. Round 1 is over, as we discussed earlier today. So how big of a splash can he make if he's not involved with the title picture?
I don't know. It's pretty weird. If they were going to add him, they should have added him to get people excited about it.
Yeah.
And I honestly think Johnny Gargano is one of the guys that people want to see wrestle.
It's in his name.
It's really in his name. But if you're not going to have a space ready for him, making a space for him is actually even more difficult.
Yeah.
So I don't know quite what to expect.
It was a surprise to see Buddy Murphy. It was a surprise to see Tyler Bate, Mark Andrews, Roderick Strong. But they were always like, oh, this makes sense.
Right.
But it was still like, oh, so a way to. How big of a it's kind of bad. But if coming off of one of the hottest matches of the year so far, and he's going to be debuting in 205 Live.
Yeah.
Right off of losing the NXT Championship, was like, well, I lost. I'm going to go to 205 Live now. Boom. And then you instantly want to watch 205 Live.
I mean, I still don't like the way he left. He looks like such a wimp, like the majority of the time in my eyes. Tommaso Ciampa is sitting in the front row. You can't tell me you don't see him. You can't tell me you don't know what happened. And he just accepts it. He's such a wimp. It just bothers me, man.
I lost my job.
Right. I lost my job. Oh, no. My Candace has got to earn all the money now. Like, he just... Why do you accept this crap? Why do you put up with this? He's such a wimp, it bothers me.
Well, okay.
He should have gone out there and pulled Tommaso Ciampa into that ring and beaten him with his own crutch. He should have been pulled off of Tommaso Ciampa physically. His last act in NXT, if it is his last act in NXT, was to erase Tommaso Ciampa's career. If I don't get to work here, you don't get to work here. That is what you do.
Careful with the beating of the table.
That is how you make an impact and a lasting impact on your way out the door. You don't just accept it. You don't just put up with it.
Which makes me think that this is not the end of Johnny Gargano in NXT.
Right.
Now, the fact that this was sort of a cheeky victory for Almas, it wasn't Almas's doing. As far as we know, Zelina didn't pay off Ciampa.
As far as we know.
So this
wouldn't put it past her.
So this is the third time where Tommaso Ciampa has, quote, unprovoked attacked Johnny Gargano. So this is something between the two of them. I think Regal makes a match. Somebody put it in chat. That it could be an unsanctioned match. So it's he isn't fighting as an NXT superstar. He's just fighting as a man for his pride.
Yeah.
But
doesn't look like much of a man though.
Either way,
saying.
Tommaso and Johnny's gonna happen. It'll probably happen at TakeOver New Orleans.
Yeah, right. It's just a matter of the stakes, and if William Regal decides to get himself involved and say Tommaso Ciampa became involved in this match, of his own volition. He had no business being involved in this. Therefore, I am reversing the decision, or I am allowing Johnny Gargano to fight Tommaso Ciampa for an NXT contract.
Yeah, and that way, it's just for Johnny's sake.
Right.
Tommaso has a job, so his joy is going to be beating the hell out of Johnny Gargano and being the gatekeeper for that. But Johnny Gargano is the one that has to win.
Yeah.
I'm excited. Sharkosaur, Hobo's hate border for Johnny Gargano continues to amuse. Good. That's the point. Anyway.
I mean, as long as you guys don't hate me for not putting up with his shenanigans and his lukewarm attitude about everything.
Well, he just deals with it. He just accepts it. He accepts it.
That's not a good quality. That is not
Fight for what
how
you believe in.
Right. That is not how you get anywhere.
So I say at the very least, he shouldn't have taken it in stride. He should have said, I need Regal out here right now. That was crap. I need Tommaso Ciampa right now.
I don't know if that is the way to go.
But that's what a good guy does.
Complaining to the teacher about something someone else did. That's not the way to go.
Or at least cutting a promo, not necessarily getting Regal out there, but at least like, you hit me and then you run away, like something. Being fired up about it at the very least.
Johnny Gargano lacks fire, in my opinion. He showed some of it tonight, but he lacks that inner fire that one needs to be a champion. That's why he's not able to seal the deal.
Speaking of fire, let's hit a really quick piece of news.
AfterBuzz TV News.
I feel like Jay Leno. Have you seen this? Did you hear about this? Did you see the group, the stable that debuted at an NXT house show over the weekend?
Nope.
You didn't?
Nope.
So, a group consisting of Lacey Evans, Steve Cutler,
Okay.
Wesley Blake, and Chad Lale, formerly TNA's Gunner, debuted to beat the crap out of Sanity.
Interesting.
Yep. It was those four superstars, NXT Cocoa, whatever you call it.
Yeah.
Attacked the crap out of Sanity, including...
Do they have a
Lacey.
name for them?
They do not have a name yet.
Because Cutler and Blake were wrestling as, so I think, Forgotten Sons or something like that.
But because I believe they're both former military, and Lacey's former military.
Yeah.
So it could be something with that.
I think Gunner is...
I don't know.
Legit former military as well. That's why his name is friggin' Gunner.
Maybe. But some of the pictures that fans posted were them all standing together, side by side. And it looked like Lacey Evans slapping Alexander Wolf, similarly to what Nikki Cross would do to some of the other male competitors as well. So we also saw Shoot Nation debut at
Just true.
at a house show and nothing come from it. But Sharkosaur calls them the MAGA faction.
I don't think that's gonna stand.
Well, you know what didn't stand? Patrick Clark's last All-American gimmick, where he was essentially
We've gone too far.
DT in tights. I hate saying that person's name, but we're excited to see if. That's another thing too. Slanderous Mambo. What if Candice challenges Zelina to a match, and if Candice wins, Johnny gets his contract back?
That makes Johnny Gargano still look like a wimp. So you're gonna let your wife fight for you?
So Candice can do it, and Zelina hasn't fought on
Candice
TV.
is more of a man than Johnny Gargano.
I'd say so.
That's death.
Her
death.
and her and Joey Ryan.
She's a badass, I don't know why that doesn't rub off on Johnny Gargano. Why can't Johnny Gargano be a badass? He's such a wimp.
It's a question that will be continuously asking right here on the NXT After Show, but that'll do it for news. That'll do it for the show. Thank you so much for watching this episode of the NXT After Show with a little bit of 205 sprinkled in. We're testing the 205 Live NXT Power Hour. Let us know if you like it in the comments down below, or letting us know on Twitter using the hashtag NXTeam, or tagging us directly. Hobo, what are you up to? Where can the folks find you on Twitter?
Find me on Twitter and Instagram at TrueHobo for all of my wrestling videos and whatnots. Go to Soapbox Car TV on the YouTube. And for appearances and other stuff, just stay tuned to YouTube and the Twitter and the Instagram.
And you're posting some Arizona stuff on Soapbox Car?
Maybe.
No?
Maybe.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I'm not at liberty to discuss the activities of Robert Baines. legal or illegal, because he might be wanted for murder.
We're going to have a talk.
Maybe.
Okay, well, stay tuned for more of that, Mr. Baines. You can find Bill on Twitter at Sundown Motel. Make sure to follow him. He's got some fun stuff both. McMansplaining is the UpRocks.com podcast, and UpRocks Video Games. He's also doing some work for them, too. He's currently at the Overwatch League with Xavier Woods. And you can find me on Twitter at MarkBDonica. Some of the stuff I'm working on right now. I'm doing some work at Geek and Sundry behind the camera, but that also means that I can pop up on camera here and there, so it's a lot of fun. If you follow the Twitch channel, you may see me. I know Ryan Whittleson gave me a nice comment last Friday for one of the shows that I was working on, because I was a drunk kid at prom. And then also the Movie Trivia Schmodown is something that I'm a part of. I am a contender for the Inner Geekdom Championship. If you like movie trivia, head over to Collider on YouTube. Check out the league. There's some friends of the AfterBuzz TV network and the Popcorn Talk network involved. The Action Movie Anatomy team. Box Office Breakdown just debuted the other day. It's a wonderful thing, and if you're a wrestling fan, you'll definitely love it. It's so much fun.
Big Daddy Geek over here.
Kiss my ass. The Enforcer, thank you very much. But yeah, I was in an Inner Geekdom 5-way. Check that out. It was a lot of fun. Thank you so much for watching this episode of the NXT After Show on AfterBuzz TV. We will see you next time.
Bye-bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.